Welcome back, Mosh Pit Podcast. We're here. I am honored to be sitting here with Saltwound. Your guys' sound is what I base this podcast around. It is just pure throwdown and just the sound of it together, like the vocals, the drums, the guitar, the bass. You feel every single one of it in each one of your songs. And you have a new album, The Temptation of Pain, that I want to talk about. It's just like it's a sound that I have never really even heard, and the like down to the promo of it with like the album cover with like the spikes coming out the lips and everything about it was just hard. Can you give me a backstory behind it?
Yeah, so the album was written between us and Josh Bearden, who's our producer down in Vegas. He was formerly of the band Distinguisher, and he runs Nevermore Recordings out there. It was our first time, we've worked with him on previous releases, but it was the first time that we actually went down to the studio to write the record, collectively with him. And it was probably the most streamlined that we've ever written a record. Normally there's a lot of back and forth, especially with Sean and I, trying to figure out, the sound we want for a release. What songs are gonna cut it? What songs are we gonna cut? Because we're not feeling with, not fucking with them. And this one, we wrote, I think we wrote more than half the record in a single weekend.
Shit.
Because it was just nonstop, good idea, good idea, good idea, and we just kept rolling with it. And the way that we were, just basically moving through the songs like a knife through butter was nothing we've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
So I think that served to make the record feel very cohesive. And I think it's probably our most cohesive release. I think that there's not a single song to me that feels out of place or well, we could have lived without this one, or maybe we should have thrown that. No, every song has its place on the record, and every song has its own identity while also still feeling very much like a part of an entire, release.
Fuck so. Yeah. I just love, and I feel how you were saying it's super easy, how it was super simple, and you've never had a album like that, and creating songs like that, you have it that easy. But do you think it's mainly just the group you've created, that you guys are just super symmetrical and creation wise?
I think it was different this time around because usually it's either me by myself or me and him, and we second guess ourselves a lot. So the guidance that Josh provided 110% improved how easy it was for the process. It was really good to have what we consider to be a professional opinion, giving that, and guiding and helping to write, and at the end of the day, it comes down to a solid team. It really took a group to make that. It wasn't just one or two people.
Yeah. Getting into the album itself, what's your favorite single from the album to even perform or just listen to?
I would say that I'm partial to Walking the Blade, mainly because our favorite song we've ever put out prior to this release my favorite song we put out was The Negative. Hands down, my favorite song, instrumentally, lyrically, vocally. I felt like that song was as close as we've come to a perfect encapsulation of what I want Saltwound to sound like, and particularly with the lyrics. And I think Walking the Blade was the first song that I've written since that song where I felt as deep of a connection to those lyrics as I did with The Negative. But it's hard to pick a favorite, honestly, man. There's not a single song on this record that I don't like or that I skip. When I listen to our own record, usually there's a song that I'm hey, I've heard this one enough, and I'll I'll skip to the one I'm looking for or whatever, and like I don't with this record, especially with the singles. The singles I'm incredibly proud of. So it's hard to narrow a favorite down in terms of like how good I think they are. It's more of like my own personal preference, and I would say from like a lyricist standpoint, to Walking the Blade.
Oh yeah, and I have a lot of albums where I can like I listen to like some of the songs in it when I play the whole album, but like your album I will play it fully through because it's just
Fuck yeah,
banger after
Thanks,
banger
bro.
after banger, and you're just like holy shit, motherfuckers don't miss.
Mine, hands down, has got to be Severance, bro. That thing just sounds like a fucking car crash. Front to back, man. I love that song. It's so heavy, dude.
that's why it's so hard for me to say Walking the Blade, because then I'm like, oh yeah, Walking the Blade, and then I'm like, wait, Empty from the Start's on there. Wait, Severance is on there. Wait,
Dude.
fuck, and it's like. Yeah. It's like my favorite song almost is whatever one I'm listening to at the moment, because it's like you know, even not from the singles, you know, like I love We All Burn, I love that intro, I love that it's super simple and yet it's also very much just an intro track, like it's something that we've always kind of done, and I feel like that was the best encapsulation of us writing an intro track. I think Blight fucks super hard. Circle the Drain crushes, like it's like as close I think as Saltwound probably will ever get to like writing like slam shit or like slam adjacent, you know, metal. I think that's fucking sick. Like the title track has that really sick ass like Sworn In-esque riff that he wrote. That's just like fucking that to me sounds like a car crash, like just absolute fucking chaos, like the whole time. And it's like, you know, it's hard to narrow your scope down to just pick one, but like it just I think comes down to preference at the end of the day.
Severance.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Severance.
Severance.
Getting into a thing I've been doing for a little bit while, story of the week. This week's topic is first tattoos. If you would like, I could start to like give you like kind of like an example of how I structure these stories. So my first tattoo, which I'll put it right here, was my back piece. It was a 5-6 hour session. My whole like half of the top of my back with my last name on it with like blood like dripping effects. And I remember the tattoo artist, it was like on a desk chair and I was hugging the back of it, and then we smoked weed, and then he did the outline. He was like, you wanna just do the outline and we'll do the shading in later? And I was like, fuck it, get the shading done now. And I thought that weed would help at the time. And then I was like, nah, it's just intensifying this pain.
I felt it more.
It makes it worse, dude. Like I never smoke weed while getting a tattoo, because like even when I used to smoke weed a lot back in the day, I would smoke it thinking, oh yeah, this will help, and I'm like, this is so much worse. All I can think about is the fucking needle in my skin right now.
Yes.
Like
I smoke weed before I do anything.
Yeah. Well,
I smoke weed before I smoke weed.
Yeah. You pre-smoke. You smoke the weed and then you smoke the actual weed you're planning on smoking.
Brother gets me.
But yeah, it was a painful tattoo, but it got me addicted.
Yeah.
100%. And
it's an addiction for sure. Like once you start, it's so fucking hard to stop.
Yeah. What was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was 8 hours on my ribs, because I always looked at guys that had like their necks and heads and chests and everything. Everybody, you know, I love like looking at people with like just full body suits, like blasted in tattoos. And from when I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to do that. And I was like, well, I'm also kind of a pussy, so I got to see if I can actually handle this. So I'm like, I'm going to get the worst spot I can think of done right off the bat.
Fuck.
Because if I can handle that, then
Yeah.
then I'm good. Everything else will be fine. Which is almost true until I got to my neck, and then I was like, this fucking sucks. But so I did 8 hours of my ribs. The artist, I don't know what his deal was. Like, he's not a bad guy or anything, but I'm not sure if he was like on something or not. But we went like, oh God, I think it was like 7 or 8 hours the first session, and then I came back for another like 3 hour session after that, and he still never finished the tattoo. Like, it's still unfinished. It's been like 8 years now at this point, and it's still unfinished. And it kind of pisses me off, because it was like I got it for my grandmother. Like, I wanted my first tattoo to have some kind of meaning for me.
Yeah.
And she passed away when I was like 13, I think 13 or 15. And so I got that for her because she loved bears. So I got a big ass bear, and she was born on the 4th of July, so I got red and blue, like supposed to be like red, white, and blue roses on there for her. And yeah, that shit fucking sucked. Like that was my introduction to tattooing. But he started kind of on my back, like it kind of goes around my back a little bit, and I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like, a lot of people bitch about this. And then the more he went around to my stomach, I was like, I see why people bitch about this. Like, this fucking sucks.
Fuck that. Yeah, I haven't even done anything on my side yet. That's just like, I think up to now, probably my fingers were the worst.
Mm-hmm. And then I didn't get another tattoo for like, I think at least 8 or 12 months afterward. So I was walking around all the time with like a tattoo on my ribs and like nobody could see. And I was like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Why did I sit through all this and nobody can see it? So rather than finishing it, I just started adding, everywhere else that I'm like, where people could actually see. Yeah. And that's why, like I said, to this day, it's still unfinished. And I don't even know if I'm going to finish it or cover it up or do whatever. But, yeah, started the addiction train. For sure.
Yep.
My first tattoo, it wasn't bad. It was a spider on my arm. It's like right here. Our old drummer did it actually because he's a tattoo artist. But yeah, it was my birthday. It was probably like the middle of the night, and he took me into his shop because he worked at a tattoo shop, and he just did it there. But it's not like an exciting story. I just got like a spider on my arm, you know what I mean? But my second tattoo was on my stomach. I kind of was like, you know what, like, hold my beer. Let's see what the fuss is really about, you know what I mean? That shit sucked. That shit was definitely painful. Like, grind your teeth, like, to the gum painful. It was
It's like
up.
right by your belly button, too, right?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it's right there.
I think my craziest tattoo story is when me and my buddies were shit-faced up in Lake Tahoe. Mm-hmm. And I got tattooed on my arm above a CVS. Yeah, we found like this rinky-dinky tattoo shop walking out of a CVS, and you had to like take an elevator and go up.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought you meant like, yo, we just hanging out on the roof.
Of a CVS getting tattooed.
He whipped out his gun, like.
I just remember, and then when we left, we were walking back to our hotel, and we ran into a fucking bear, and we were like, the fuck? Shit.
I think craziest story for me was I was getting my arm done, and I was like in kind of a weird position. I'm like laying face down on the table, my arms like out like this, and I guess the shop my buddy worked at, the owner was tight with the Hells Angels, and I was had to have my head down. I think I was reading a book or fucking something, and I look up and there's like a full patch angel like standing right next to me, and I was like, oh, hi. And he looks down and he's like, what's up? And one more came in, and then I think 2 like prospects came in, whatever, and then I think maybe one more guy, I can't remember. But I went down to the basement with my buddy, the artist, and the piercer from the shop. We were shotgunning Millers in between the tattoo. Yeah. So we're shotgunning beers, go back up, keep doing the tattoo, go back down, shotgun another beer, finish the tattoo, whatever. And then we're down there, and I was kind of drunk, and I didn't realize it until I looked around, and everybody from the shop now is in the basement. It's like me, my artist, the piercer, the owner, and then like 4 angels. And like they were all like super fucking cool, like super nice guys. And there was just a moment where I kind of thought about like where I was, it's like downtown Stockton. I'm in a basement of a tattoo shop in like one of the worst areas of Stockton with a bunch of Hells Angels. And I'm like, I'm
You're
not
safe.
worried about anybody in this room doing anything to me because they were all super fucking cool, super nice dudes. I'm just worried about what this objective situation looks like.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to get the fuck out of this situation as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah, trust me, I've been there because I used to be a part of the MC world. I used to prospect and everything and be associated with them.
Okay.
But I won't ever get into that. That story stays hidden. But like, yeah, I can get how you feel because I remember the first time I ever was like around a big group of them, and you're like.
Well, one of them for sure. Like, I mean, I've never been in the MC world, but like I know enough about it to kind of understand certain things. And one of the guys was talking to me, and he had a filthy feud patch, and he was telling me about it, and like he didn't tell me obviously like what he did to get the patch, but like I knew some of the lore of like what that patch means and like what it means for a member to have that patch and everything. And he was just telling me his whole backstory of like how he got into the club and how he was prospecting forever because there was one guy in the club that didn't fucking like him and kind of had it out from or whatever. The whole time I'm talking to him, I'm like drunk as shit. And so part of me is listening. Part of me is like starting to understand like the situation that I'm in right now. And I'm like, I would like to get the fuck out of here as quickly as I possibly can. So I'm like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Is the door open yet? Okay. Yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, I'm like, I'm not going to be a dick to him, obviously. I'm just going to let him tell me what he wants to say. And then I'm going to quietly, politely excuse myself as soon as I possibly fucking can.
Fuck yeah.
So.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Last question for you guys. I asked this to Reminiscence last week.
Okay.
Bleh, Re, or Arf Arf?
I gotta give it up for the Arfs.
I'm more of an arf guy.
Yeah.
I love a good bark.
Love a good bark.
Yeah. Because there's so many different like ways you can do an Arf. You don't have to like do it like a dog. You can do like Matt Honeycutt's way of doing it, which is more of like a like wrestling fucking. It almost sounds like Ric Flair's woo, like pitch shifted. You know what I mean? Like like you're just like grunting, and like when you do that at an impact or right before an impact of a song, like it just hits to me.
Yeah. But I love the Arf Arf. I remember the first time I heard that, like before the Arf Arf was big, I was listening to Knock Loose. I listened to Knock Loose since the gospel. And it's just like, I remember when that shit became big and the first time I went to a show after they like that Arf Arf became like, it was just like, whoa, these shows, like now you go to Knock Loose show, you're just like, hey, there's a hell of people here. But it was like back before, it was just like, all right, they're Knock Loose. Now it's like, they're fucking Knock Loose.
Yeah, for real. They've done incredible shit for this scene too. Yeah, I love seeing bands like them and like Lorna Shore and stuff where they're like, they're breaking through that ceiling that like every metal band has like hit. And I think for a long time, like I even was talking to Scott about this I think it was Sean from Carnifex. I was talking to him about this at their last show. And he was telling me about how like there was an attitude for a while where a lot of bands were trying to, especially in metal, they were trying to become more commercial. And they were adding in singing and they were adding in like melodies and stuff, which there's nothing wrong with. If that's the artistic direction you want to go, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, do what you want to do what's authentic to you. But I think a lot of bands were just doing that to try to like make themselves more accessible. And then you have bands like Lorna Shore that just fucking showed that there's a huge market of people that love that extreme, you know, I wouldn't call it slamming, but like that very...
It's deathcore.
Yeah, I mean, it's deathcore. It's just straight up deathcore, you know what I mean? Like unadulterated
And ain't
deathcore.
shit changed. They kept it the same. They kept it 100 too, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then the same thing with Knocked Loose, like that like hardcore adjacent metalcore, like they showed that there was a huge... Like once you break out of only playing to people that already listen to this music, if you show people... You know, like they're a fucking Coachella performance, you know what I mean? I think you can markedly say... that Knocked Loose before Coachella is different than Knocked Loose after Coachella. Not in their sound, but in the level that they became from that one performance that showed, hey, if you do this really well, like if you are just so fucking tight as a band, if you play your shit in front of people that don't necessarily listen to this kind of music, you can get more fans. You can not only increase your audience, but increase the entire scene's audience because more people... are now going to listen to that kind of stuff. They're like, dude, Knocked Loose fucks. Like, I just found this genre of music now from them. I'm going to go check out Kubla Khan. I'm going to go check out Boundaries. I'm going to go check out 156 Silence. I'm going to go check out Saltwound. And it just trickles down to all of the other up-and-coming bands. Like, it only does a service for the entire scene. You know?
Including the fact that, like, Knocked Loose just got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Like, imagine if, like, Suicide Silence got a Grammy nod in 2008. You know what I mean?
They're
like,
walking so we can run.
Yeah. It's like it only lifts up the entire scene, and it's like it's fucking awesome to see that. And you know, it's like it's not selling out. It's not them adulterating their sound for any kind of clout or fame or shit. They're just doing what they've always done and being authentic to themselves and lifting up everybody. Like everybody wins. You know what I mean? Literally everybody wins, and it's like such a fucking cool moment right now in the metal scene where that ceiling has been fucking shattered. Like bands can like shoot for the moon now because bands doing it. You know,
Yeah.
they just fucking played Madison Square Garden with fucking Slipknot and shit. That
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
Insane fucking show.
Yeah, that's just like, it's the amount, like, it keeps progressing and progressing, and how quick it keeps progressing is insane. And it's awesome, and it makes me happy. But thank you guys so much for just being here and bullshitting with me. It means a lot, and I'm really excited to finally see you guys like live for the first time. And I can't wait to throw down in the pit and get some awesome vids and pics for you guys.
Fuck yeah, man. Thanks for having us,
Super
Chris.
stoked, yeah.
Appreciate it, dude.
No problem.
Cool chatting.
And go down link below. All their stuff will be there, and their links to their new album, The Temptation of Pain. Go listen to it. You will have it on repeat for about a week at least. But thank you guys again. We'll catch you next week, Mosh Pit. Later.